waiting for some guests to arrive. We just want to say hello to you officially from the organizers of this event. So we thank you so much for coming. Yeah, welcome. Welcome. And I would like to introduce myself. My name is Walita Panaya Pramanasari. You can call me Naya. I know some people in the audience. I see few familiar faces and some new ones. And this is awesome. Thank you very much for coming here. And I hope that, after this we can be friends. So I'm from Ecco Foundation, so one of the organizers of this event. And Ecco Foundation is Environment and Climate Change Organization. Some of the founders are here, myself included. We have also Pak Iqbal there at the back. Hello, Pak Iqbal. Welcome. We also, I think, have Devi here. Is that you? Hello. Devi is also here. She's one of our Ecco ambassadors. And we also have a volunteer from Pak Ayu over here. She's a volunteer for Ecco as well. So we're very proud to work together with Undipma here, especially with E2DC. They have wonderfully agreed to be the host and of course with the permission and support of the team. So thank you very much. And our partner is, of course, from the YCC Youth Climate Council, in which Julia is representing. So we are so very happy to be here today, and thank you for supporting it. Okay. So one of the programs for Ecco, what do we do? What is it? So one of the things is education, climate education. So who here has received climate education formally when they were at school, in high school or university? Can you please raise your hand? Formal climate education as a subject. Never. Oh, frontal, yeah. Never. All right. So do you think we need climate change education at school? Raise your hand. If you think so. Do we need it? No? Yes? Okay. If you want to say yes, good. If you want to raise your hand, good. Okay, I think everything is yes. Right. So climate change education is something we think that is really needed. And the YCC is also working towards that in Poland. So the YCC is all over from Poland, and that's why we call this an international event. Because YCC has agreed to be our sister, our brother, our family, in working together with Ecco. So our goal is so that everyone has this climate education. If not at school yet, then through our organizations. That's one. Second of all, why do we want to have climate education? To raise awareness, right? To raise awareness, why? When you look around you, around ourselves in our environment, do you think it's already ideal? Is it something you want to see it? No? Have you been to Jalan Gaya? And it's wonderful. Now there's parks and rubbish bins everywhere. But you see rubbish bin, and then you see kali or river. I don't know the perfect English translation is for kali. River, yes. We see the river or kali, kali, yes. And in the river, you see on top of the road there are rubbish bins. But where do people put the rubbish? There's still a lot of decoration in the river, yes? Decoration. So this is one of the concerns. How to raise the awareness for people just to put it in the right place. That's one, right? And then the next thing would be electromobility. Who knows what electromobility is? Who knows? Electromobility, is about EV. Who knows the full version of EV? What's EV? EV. No one? Okay, so this is actually something new in Indonesia. EV is electric vehicle. Yeah, kendaraan listrik, right? And did you know that in 2019, there was an undang-undang, there was a law issued of the acceleration of EV from 2019, and today is 2022, yes, right? It's not 2020, it's 2022. So how many years has it been since this law? 3 years. And do we see electric vehicles used by people yet? Not that many. But have you been to Kota Mandalika? Yes. Yeah, there are scooters. You know the brand? Those ones I had the lady one day. The brand is Celis. And this is a local brand, This is amazing. And at UTS, we also have, I think it's Woodwoods. And these are really good local EV, companies. But we don't have a good promotion yet for people to use it. And EVs are actually much better for our environment. That's why we need to get that to reach the carbon neutrality, to reach zero waste. But it's not yet. And why do we not have these EV yet? Do you know the price of one EV? The prices. So they vary, right? There are some from 9 million, we also have 19 million, but we also have Tesla, in which you can trade Tesla with a few houses, right? So people would choose house, right? So this is also one of our concerns. If you want to make EVs more accessible, of course, they have to be more, dompet friendly, right? For mahasiswa, especially. So hopefully in the future, we would be able to have EVs. But if there are EVs, would you be interested? Would any one of you, if it's cheap, if it's cheaper than our current value or our current, motorcycles, would you be interested in using it? Raise your hand. Yeah, amazing, cool, look, Julia. Yeah, so when I was in Poland, I took my master's degree, right? I took my master's degree on beasiswa integrated scholarship. You know beasiswa integrated scholarship, right? Yeah. Who wants to join for someday? Okay, take a picture. I'll recommend you. Yes, in the beasiswa integrated scholarship, I'm so thankful. I was one of the awardees. So I went there, and what I saw was I could go to school with these scooters. These scooters also were electric. And I just needed to use my phone and scan, and it got debited a little bit, not that expensive, debited a little bit to my top, and I could use these scooters to school, right? So quite cool. There are scooters in which it's just, something flat, and there are scooters which are bikes. And this was amazing. And I thought, oh, wouldn't that be cool if we had that, for example, at our university? Maybe something that the people have we'll have scooters from a location to a region, for example. That would be cool. And they work together with my university, the Nicholas Copernicus University, in Poland, right? So this is something that was interesting for me. These collaborations between institutions and also climate change, institutions. So we want this to happen also maybe in Indonesia, but we can see it happening in America. So we want it to be more massive in education. Because the people who are going to have the most power in the future are you guys. So that's why we're so happy here, right, Anu? For the opportunity to work with NTBC, which are an amazing, organization. And here at the Ndigma was open their hearts up for us. And you all here, are these people who are going to have the power, right? This is in your hands, whether you want to use the vehicles or not, it's in your hands. Whether you want to save the environment or not, it's in your hands, right? And we see this as a very important issue as well now because you know what's going in the world right now about temperatures? It's hot, yeah. So Indonesia is not the hottest country anymore in Asia. It's cold, right? No, yeah, strange. I use so many blankets when I'm asleep now, more than before sound is enough, right? But now not. So now I have to use, socks, and then also have to use bed buffers or something like that because it's so cold for me. And in Poland, what was the recent highest temperature, Leah? In Poland and generally in Europe, the highest temperature from last month was about 40 degrees. And usually we did not have temperatures like that. And it was really dangerous for older people. And we had many fires. And right now in Europe, we can see how the world will like if we won't stop fossil fuels and we won't stop destroying our climate and environment. Thank you. So 40. 40. Can you remember last time in Lotte maybe or in Lombok? Someone or here in Mataran it was 40? No, right? What's our highest temperature usually? Yeah, 35. Which is okay, but that's already too hot for us. We have AC here. All right. But usually it's 30s, right? In the morning we wake up maybe 20s. In the afternoon 30s. But never really 40, not really. But in the Middle East, we have even more hotter temperatures, right? In Europe, in the UK, places you won't imagine that it's that hot, right? So it comes from this awareness that we made this organization called Ecco with the help of some sponsors in Poland. And then we have these events at schools, right? And one of our projects, because it's not all about speaking, right? We can't only have the webinars. We also have to have real action. So one of the things that we are doing is we went to KLO, or Lomotara, and then there we went to one of the villages that was heavily impacted by the earthquake. We also went to that village because they don't get that much education, for example, about tourism or about English, right? So we taught them English lessons for ecotourism. And Ayu here is one of our wonderful teachers. So maybe I'll give a few minutes. So Ayu, could you tell us what you were doing there? So thank you so much for the So yeah, I'm a teacher of I'm a English teacher in Ecco and also in the English Club Lombok. I actually teach adults and teenagers. I teach English, not only teaching English, but they're also trying to educate them related to environment, how to how to solve the problem of environment in that village because Batuan is one of the village that is tourism village. So yeah, they are so interested in learning English. They are so warm and nice. But some of them came from far away. So sometimes it took 20 minutes, I guess, when I around that time. So yeah, but they are all amazing. They are so open with us, so they work together with us. Thank you so much, Maria. I make a lot of fun. She's a favorite there. And Yulia is here to help them learn English. So sometimes English she comes, but most importantly, she comes there for research. So this is one of our partnerships with YCC. She's going there and she will talk to you about the research on biodiversity, right? And this is really amazing what she's doing and its relation to climate change. So this is what we see for the future. So the potential for tourism is not only for entertainment. It's not only to have fun, which is good, right, for Lombok, but we can also have tourism for research. We can invite people to come, visit the villages, live in a well-governed environmental place, and then there, they will stay for a long time. So this is good for the hotels. This is good for the locals and everything to host them, but they will do contributive research that will be good for the environment and climate change. And you guys, if you want to volunteer, you could always sign up for Ecco's project or EC's project, English Club's project. We can help teach, we can help volunteers, you can come there with us, we'll drive you, we'll give you food, don't worry. And then you can interact with the locals or even interact in the future with our researchers from abroad and help them. So in this case, you'll be doing something good for the environment, good for the society, and also have something impressive to put on your CV, an international collaboration, right? Okay, so if you're interested, just sign up, but can I have a show of hands of who might be interested to join with us for this volunteering project? Oh, you're shy. That's okay, thank you so much. So, we'll take that into account and hopefully we'll have an opening recruitment and then you can join. So basically, that's all for me. This little introduction. And yeah, we'll still be waiting for the guests to arrive, so that's okay. And I think we can proceed to the opening. So thank you very much everyone for your attention. Thank you so much for your speech. Well, sebelum memulai acara, kami mohon untuk semua partisipan agar tetap tenang karena acara akan segera dimulai. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ecco Idea 2022, Brotherhood, international collaboration to complete climate change. Your Excellency, the Dean of Faculty Culture, Management and Business, Honorable, the first, Honorable, the Chief of Committee, Honorable, the President of Ecco Foundation, the respectable, all the invited guests and unforgettable committee and all the audiences whom I love. First of all, let's give our gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for all mercies and blessings we have got to live together here in a good condition and situation. Secondly, our salawat and salam are always conveyed to our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who has brought us from the darkness to brightness. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me bring you to our agenda today. The first agenda is opening. Let's open our agenda by reciting our basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The second agenda is page by some speakers. The first page is from the Chief of Committee, to Ms. Virginia Sari Anissa. Time and place are yours. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So, the Honorable President of Australia, Mr. Rani, and also the Honorable the Founder of the Foundation, Ms. Veronica Panayana, the Honorable the President of the Foundation, Mr. Rana, and also as a welcome to our speaker. Ms. Lydia Perez, the Vice Chairman of Vice Poland, and also our speakers for today's seminar. And also, as well as all I respect the committee and all participants of the Idea 2022. So here, by standing here, I would like to inform about the report of our event, about our Idea. So it will be held from today. Saturday, 20th of July 2022 until tomorrow, Sunday, 24th of July 2022. The first day will be seminar with our speakers. There are online and also for the morning. After this afternoon will be offline seminar. And we will continue to the second day, that will be debate sessions. There are 24 debaters, and also we have H teams. H debaters, there are also come from Zanoni University and then University of Mataram. There are also from Senior High School, Park Mataram, and also from UBC and one city LBC. And then we have around 50 participants for offline seminar. And also, if you are interested, you can join the online seminar after the offline one. And then I do thank to the committee because as you know that the committee was created around 2 years ago, and I do appreciate the effort of committee. Thank you so much. Just keep your spirit and also be professional. And then I also do thank the Ecco Foundation and also our faculty and the open Mark for supporting our event, Ecco Ideas 2022. We are from community also feel grateful because we can make a cooperation with Ecco Foundation, with IBC also. So we do hope that in the future we can make a better improvement not only in English, but also in our environment, what we can also. So yes, Dolan and say thank you so much for your attending here and enjoy the dinner and also enjoy the debate sessions for tomorrow. Dolan saya say thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The next speech is from the President of Ecco Foundation, to Mr. Iqbal Maulana S. and employees are yours.
First of all, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for having us here. And I would like to thank Mandalika University of Communication for really facilitating us to help this event. It's a very wonderful morning for us from Ecco Foundations. We have several friends there, Mr. Ariel, who will be really helpful with the event to be held this morning. And I would like to also thank you, the fellows from PPBC. It's become not only amazing event, but also very amazing facilitators for this morning event. And we were very active and very helpful in helping this event, and also to all participants of the offline seminar this morning. This is one of the very first offline event I think that we have, and we hope that it's going to be continuously offline event because we want to meet another human more often, right? And we kind of work with online events sometimes because we didn't see each other, we didn't know to socialize. And anyway, Ecco Idea is actually one of our academic projects that held by Ecco Foundations, which is in this academic project, we are specifically trying to work more and try to be more inclusive to the educational institution here in West Tenggara, and also try to work together with some institutions from not only Indonesia but also from Poland, and ONCC is one of our partners to contribute to the academic sectors with the financial issues. And we hope that this will be a really beneficial event for us to increase awareness on how actually we can be more aware of the financial issues in several topics, because there are going to be several speakers that talk about different issues, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be provided with like thought analysis and perspective regarding the issues. There is the issues of diversity, there is the more practical issues about contributions on climate change, and also there will be more transfer issues talking about energy efficiency, pretty much that will give us and provide us a very comprehensive and broad perspective on how we can see the problem of the environment, but it's not actually a simple problem, and to make us aware that this is also an important issue. I think I don't have much to say, but I already explained to you what we do as a foundation, and I hope that we can really enjoy the event and bring some awareness after this event. Thank you so much.
Business, and also this agent and the employees are yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everyone. I'm sorry, I'm still wearing my mask because of the flu for some days. My distinguished guests, Julia, good morning. My beloved Naya, Erwin, Ayu and friends, and also Iqbal and sorry, what is it? Yang depannya masih Mbak Devi. Okay. So, and also the participants. So thank you very much for attending this seminar, and tomorrow will be the debate. And I'm very delighted to welcome all participants coming to this event. And firstly, I'd like to welcome you to Hikmah and our faculty of culture, management, and business is one of the faculties in Hikmah. And actually, last 2 days, I met Julia and Ayu in my office, and we talked about this program. It's such a good thing to have all great young people around. And I'm very proud of having you around because at your age, once again, many times I say this in every ETUDC championship, I always say that I'm very proud of having young people around. At your age, I graduated from FK program at that time, and then my English was not like your English. And then I'm very proud when I'm listening to the English of the students today, and then their English is great. So I'm very proud that you are now attending this seminar and tomorrow's debate. And it's such a great thing to listen to your English. That's the first thing. And before that, I'd like to say that Unikma has got 20 departments. So English department is one of the departments. Originally, Julia can have this like collaboration with biology department. But then, as she met me last 2 weeks, talking to me about the collaboration with our faculty, and I was very happy that she facilitated us to have the collaboration with our faculty. I can say honestly that we do need international collaboration. We've got limited international collaboration, and then we do need that. I told Julia that last 2 years, in 2014, we had fellow from America, and then we worked with fellows in Jakarta. And then we got the lecturers from America teaching at Ecco Mataram at that time, the Undikma. So now we've got Undikma. And at that time, we got the lecturer from America. So we do need the native speakers around at Undikma, and then we do need future collaboration, international collaboration. And last night, I was looking at the faculty because now we are working on the accreditation of the department, English department, and we have to upload the document by tomorrow. And we've been working for the document for 2 weeks. And while working last night, I was thinking about the program today's program. And then I thought that the more young people contribute to this environment and climate change, to Ecco Foundation, the better. Because it doesn't mean that you just can have the collaboration between yourself and Ecco, but we can think that the more we do, the more we can contribute to the world, the better. Because you're still young, you can do some more things. Not only talking about yourselves, not only talking about you as yourself, but we are talking about the world. So the more we can do, the better. So I wish I could return the time back. I could return the clock back. And then I wish I could be younger than today, but I'm now 40. But still, at this age, I want to be, I can contribute a bit to the world. So I said to Julia, to Naya, and also Ayu, sometimes I want to join Eco Foundation, going to Gebelang to see how they work. So once again, welcome to Digma. And then I do expect that in the future, this is not our first meeting. So we can have some more collaboration, we can have some more event. And then when Digma are open, so we are open, all of the departments at Digma are open for any collaboration. So this is the starting point. This is the first meeting, and then we just can have some more collaboration in the future. So for the students coming from the schools and also the universities, welcome to our campus. So, and then, ada yang dari SMA 5 di sini? Yang SMA mana lagi? Kusuma? Mana lagi? What about the universities? From Hamzawadi? Umram? Okay, I was on one of the alumni in the department of Umram. Okay, active Umram. So welcome to Digma. Thank you for today, for this morning. Sorry that it's holiday, but you are coming to this event. So by saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, apa ini judulnya you? International collaboration to combat climate change is officially open.
Thank you so much for the speech. So, ladies and gentlemen, after each of that is praying, to Ms. Kusuma is praised. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, before we start the seminar, let me lead the prayer by Muslim Arabic or Muslim faith. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. يا رب لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى ال سيدنا محمد اللهم اغفر لنا ولوالدينا وارحمنا كما ربنا صغارا ولجميع المسلمين والمسلمات المؤمنين والمؤمنات وعافية في الجسد وزيادة في العلم وبركة في الرزق وتوبة قبل الموت ورحمة عند الموت ومغفرة بعد الموت اللهم حول علينا في شكر الله ونجعل من الأثناء الحسنة ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda will be a gift giving session. Now we'd like to present an award to the team of Faculty Culture, Management and Space as a token of our appreciation. So we're pleased to the President of Ecco Foundation to give the words. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of our opening ceremony. So we are going to the next session. But before that, let us introduce the wonderful moderator first. So here it is Mr. Aaron Hendra. He is a lecturer at the University of Bukit, and then he also a member of Ecco Foundation Education Consultant, and then he is a part of Ikatan Sarjana NWDI at West Nusa Tenggara, and he is also Indonesian University Sport Council, or we call it BAPOBI. And last but not least, he is part of LDB Advisory Board. And that's all. Thank you. So we are going to the next session. It will be led by our awesome moderator. Time and please are yours.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I opened mask. Thank you, MC, for having me. On the same as a moderator, I would like to welcome everyone on this manner. This morning session, we are going to have two seminars. We have two wonderful speakers sitting next to me. We have Julia and also we have Krishna Devi. But first, we are going to talk about, at first we are going to talk about the biodiversities and climate change. But to make the seminar going or running smoothly and efficiently, all the audiences are expected to silence their mobile phones, and if you think you need to eat your foods, please consume it silently. Thank you. Okay, proceeding to the seminar, I would like to introduce you to our first speakers. At first, we will discuss climate change, including biodiversity and sustainability. Let me first read her cover words. Our first speaker is a student at Jagiellonian University in Krakow. If you do not know, I've done some small research. Krakow is actually near border of, Czech republics, the southern part, but it was also close to Ukraine. If you see from the maps, but I've never been there. Maybe Naya can also tell you, and the speaker will tell you a little further about it. And the second is also a vice president of YCC, this is the organization from Ministry of Climate and Environment in Poland. Sorry, technical issue. And she's also a group coordinator of climate lessons for Poland. She's also a member of the Youth Climate Dialogue. Also at such young age, she's an activist in Kota for Climate, young activist.
Okay, that's much better. Let me continue. At such young age, she's an activist at Kota for Climate. Also, she's has concluded that she's young scientist, environmentalist, and climate activist, also student. So even as a student, she's done a lot. As we can also learn from her. But one thing that I can note that her bio, and I think she says that in science we trust. In us, as a Muslim, in God we trust, as a debater, in debate we trust. Her, in science we trust. Okay. Let's invite another speaker. Please welcome Julia Dallas.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, for this introduction.
I would like to say that I'm really happy to be here and I'm honored to speak here for you about biodiversity loss, which is an urgent but silent crisis. My name once again is Julia Garosh, I'm a biology student and scientist from the University, and I'm vice president of that part of Council by the Ministry of Climate and Environment in Poland. Here, on the first slide, you can see the local parks, and they were inspiration for makers of Rio cartoon. You know Rio cartoon about two blue parrots?
Yeah.
Yes, Rio. So unfortunately, now they are officially extinct in the wild, but still we have them in zoological gardens, so we may manage to reintroduce them into the natural environment. Okay, here on the next slide, you can see Sumatran rhinoceros, maybe you are familiar with, because he also appears in Indonesia. Also, he was living in Malaysia, in Borneo, and here you can see this small square on the left side of the left picture, and it's Darling Valley Conservation Area. Unfortunately, due to poaching, this Sumatran rhinoceros was really in dangerous situation, and that Valley Conservation Area decided to make nursery for this animal. They were building this nursery, and when they finished, unfortunately, there were no more Sumatran rhinoceros in the area. So right now, it's standing there, and it's a sad sign of the times. But still, we have a hope, because here in Indonesia, a few years ago, was born a new Sumatran rhinoceros, and they can still be introduced to the natural environment in Borneo. And as you can see, in Sumatra, there is quite big population of them, so we still have hope to rebuild the population. Okay, next example is European vism, and I think it's more happy example because it lives usually in Eastern Europe, but right now it's mostly living in Poland. So we started in our population of European vism in Poland from first two visms because it also was extinct in Poland. But these two first visms were released into the wild in the Białomierza forest in 1952. By 1964, more than 100 organisms existed. So it's a success. But the Białomierza forest is one of the last natural forests in Europe. Here you have many of them, many of the primary forests, which haven't ever been touched by human hands. And on our way to development, we destroyed our natural resources. But speaking of Europeanism, Poland right now has been described as the world's breeding center of Europeanism. The population doubled between 1995 and 2017, reaching 2,269 by the end of 2019. The total population is increasing by around 15 to 18% yearly. And right now we have around 3,500 European visms in Europe, especially in Poland. Unfortunately, because the whole population was recreated from only two animals, they have really small genetic pool, and they are more vulnerable for diseases than they was in the past. And right now, scientists are working on that. We are trying to change, to cross the populations and to make them less vulnerable for diseases. Edward O. Wilson said, "Like it or not, we remain a biological species in a biological world. Wondrously, we adapted to the particular conditions of the planet's former living environment. Although tragically, not this environment or the one we are creating. In body and soul, we are children of the Holocene, the epoch that created us. Yet we're well adapted to its successors, the Anthropocene. And Anthropocene is the epoch that we created as humans. Getting to the topic, what is biodiversity? Have you ever heard about biodiversity before?
Yes.
Okay. So biodiversity is really intuitive name because it's a diversity of every living organism in a specific area. And by the specific area, we can talk about all worlds and about global biodiversity, which is diversity of every living organism from all over the world. You can imagine how many of the organisms we have, and we know only small part of them. We know organisms that are in almost every climatic zone, but in the tropics, diversity is so high that we still do not know even 30% of the species. You can imagine how amazing is that and how exciting, especially for me, that I'm a biology student and young researcher. And sometimes I'm a little freak when we talk in terms of biology, but it's for me, it's really exciting to be here and I really appreciate that. And you have to remember that you have a treasure here, this primary tropical forests. And besides that, we can talk about underwater biodiversity, which we can distinguish to freshwater biodiversity and marine biodiversity. I couldn't not tell you about coral reefs, which are the hotspots of marine biodiversity, and they are also right now destroyed day by day by human activities. We also have terrestrial biodiversity, which can be split into many other smaller areas or fields, but mostly important, in my opinion, are forests. Of course, meadows and deserts and everything that is between them. Of course, we can think about different areas or different ecosystems, such as swamps, for example, which are really interesting areas to do your research on. But this is like the general what is biodiversity? And please let me read the definition by the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity. It defines biodiversity as the variability among living organisms from sources and the ecological complexes of which they are a part. This includes diversity within species, between species, and of ecosystem. As you can see here, this diversity that you can see on the picture is of ecosystems between species, and unfortunately here is no within species, but in one moment I'm going to show you. Okay, so here you can see diversity within and between species. On the left side of the screen, you can see morphospecies, which is an tropical butterfly. They are really big. Sometimes they can even grow to this size, as I am showing you, and they are really beautiful because they are blue and they are really shiny. But as you can see on this picture, they can be really diverse within species. Non-biologist or someone who would guess, or someone who do not work with butterflies, for example, as me, could tell that these are 6 different species. Yes, they are looking differently, but still this is one species, and they are, as I said, they are really diverse and really beautiful. Besides that, on the right side of the screen, you can see fishes of Australia. It may be like a little bit local field because here Lombok is after a Wallace line, which distinguish Asian fauna and flora from Australian fauna and flora. And Lombok is more Australian fauna and flora. So fishes of Australia may appear to you. Of course, it's not so strict. You cannot draw one line and tell here's something, here's another thing. It's quite fluent, but still you have more Australian fauna and flora. So you can see how different colors, different shapes these fishes can have. And that's amazing to see the diversity of living organisms. Okay, next thing, which is also important when we talk about biodiversity, are trophic webs. And trophic web is a synonym for food chain, which you may know. Do you know food chains? And how about trophic webs? Okay, but this is similar. A scientist or researcher would tell you about trophic webs, and like a person that is working with something else would tell you about trophic chain, about food chain. But it's a chain of trophic networks. It's an ecological term describing the different participants involved in the process of production and consumption of food. And you may think, why do I have this spider webs on the screen? Maybe you have some ideas. Yes, like trophic web may be similar to spider web. And imagine really. Sorry, because I don't know. Okay, so imagine a really big spider web that is in front of you, okay? And imagine that you are taking a stick or your finger and you're touching it really light. You will see that the whole web starts to shake, you know. And if you do it gently, it will only shake. But imagine taking the stick or your finger and trying to destroy only one or two lines. It will maybe not necessarily collapse at the moment, but it will be destroyed. And destroying only one line can destroy the whole web. Okay, see here, this is something quite unusual for me. It was really impressive because here you can see some simplified trophic webs. On the upper left, you can see predator-prey subweb. On the upper right, predator-parasite subweb. On the down left, parasite-host subweb. And on the right, on the bottom, parasite-parasite subweb. We usually do not use them to see which organism is eating another organism. Speaking like really simplified, but we use them to see how complicated is specific web or subweb, and they are simplified, as I said. So you can imagine how many different lines of this spider web that we were imagining are there in the world, and if we will touch any of them, the whole net will shake. And if we will destroy enough of them, the whole net will possibly collapse. We are also, as humans, we are also part of global food chain or global trophic web. So, and we are taking from natural resources. So we have to remember that by destroying some of these lines, we can also destroy ourselves. So that's also why it's so important to research on things like that. And where in this whole situation are we? As you can see in the picture, we are somewhere in the center. I don't know if it's visible, but I try to tell you as much as possible about that. And its benefits that can be provided by higher biodiversity may be, for example, products delivered from natural ecosystems, such as food, fiber, fuel, fresh water, genetic material, and medicine. And try to imagine your life without even one of these it's almost impossible. Except that regulating and then the regulation of ecosystem process, such as pollination, pest and disease regulation, water regulation, and many more. For example, areas and natural hazard regulation. And try to imagine world without pollinators, without pollination. We wouldn't have food, we wouldn't have fiber, we wouldn't have fresh water sometimes even because this trophic chain, this trophic web will collapse. Besides that, we have also cultural benefits, which are non-material benefits from ecosystems, such as spiritual and religious values, aesthetic values, of course, because we are living in this world and we are every day seeing the areas. Something which is might be specifically interesting for you, which is recreation and ecotourism, because quite a big part of income of your country comes from tourism. So ecotourism may be a solution to combine nature, biodiversity, and society here. Besides that, we have educational values and cultural heritage. And also with that supporting benefits, which are fundamental services that are necessary for the delivery of other ecosystem services, such as water and nutrients cycling, photosynthesis, soil formation. Try to imagine living without soil, formatted soil. Where would we be right? Where would we be right now without photosynthesis or water and nutrients cycle? It's impossible, and that's why we have to be aware of that where is our place and that we are here not only because of other humans, of course, because of other humans too, but also because of the nature that is surrounding us. So biodiversity loss in numbers. Since 1970, the global wildlife population has fallen by an average of 68%. It's almost 70%. So it's a huge amount. Still, of course, we have many animals, but they are usually domestic animals or animals that we eat, for example. But wildlife population is increasing, is decreasing and decreasing year by year. In 2019, every 6 seconds, one football pitch of primary forest was lost. And it was fully lost, not only partly to take some resources, some wood, and the rest could be longer. It was fully locked, and as I said, primary forests are quite diverse hotspots. Even though we have to find solutions because we have to eat something, we have to have our agriculture somewhere, and right now we have many different possibilities, but still there are not used every day. 1 million animal and plant species are threatened with extinction because of human activities. As you can see here, wrong waste management, air pollution, everything is a threat for biodiversity, and we have to think about that. We have to think about that we are not alone on this planet, and we have to think about other species, but also other humans. And $44 trillion of economic value generation is moderately of higher dependent on nature. Imagine this amount of money. Because as you can see on the previous slide, we are taking almost everything from nature. Directly or indirectly, but still we are using our natural resources. Sixth mass extinction is something that we are talking about right now. And as you can see here, on the picture, you can see a polar bear, which hangs from the ice. And right now, ice is melting. We know that sea level is rising, ice is melting, and polar bears are impossibly extinct. That's why it's almost impossible to provide them safe area to live in the wild because we cannot pull this huge parts of huge areas covered with ice. It's quite hard, but that's why also we have to combat climate change and we have to think about that. Also quite important when we talk about biodiversity loss and six mass extinction are insects. Usually we do not see them because they are small and sometimes they are annoying for us, but they are pollinators and they are parts of this trophic webs, food chains, and that's why we have to think about them too. As you can see here, here's a bee, and on the next picture, you can see a beetle. See how diverse they are. And on the next picture is also a beetle, but he looks like an alien to me. it's another dimension, actually. Okay, so main threats for aquatic biodiversity are acidification and higher temperatures and overfishing. We know that coral reefs are right now being destroyed by human activities, but also by acidification and higher temperature because algae, which are living inside the coral, are dying. And the only thing that we can see after algae dies is the skeleton, this calcium skeleton, which is white. So usually when we can see white coral is already dead. And overfishing, which is also an important threat of aquatic biodiversity because we are using more and more resources and we are using huge nets to collect everything that we can collect from the ocean, even from the bottom of the ocean. And sometimes we are wasting food, we are throwing it away. And this picture is actually pretty sad, and I really am concerned when I look at it because, as you can see, we're only one fish and so many groups in the ocean, and every group can represent like a person that in the future we will have to eat. And this fish this is our natural resource. And imagine splitting only one fish between so many people. It will be a real tragedy, and a real tragedy from a technical point of view, because we are destroying more and more species. Okay, main threats for biodiversity on land are habitat loss and poaching. About poaching, you know a little, and I'm running out of time, so maybe I'll tell you only about habitat loss. Habitat loss may be caused by fires, by logging, by urbanization. So we are taking space that we live on these areas. We are fragmenting each other, they reproduce properly, and we are destroying them without even knowing about that sometimes. I think deforestation is a good place to start, because one more time I want to tell you some numbers. 80% of the world's terrestrial biodiversity lives in forests. That's a huge amount. 75% of tropical deforestation is driven by 4 commodities: cattle products, soybean, palm oil, and forestry products. And cattle products and soybean actually are connected because we have to grow soybean to feed the cattle. Tropical deforestation would rank third in carbon dioxide equivalent emissions for a country. Imagine that. That's a huge amount, and tropical forests are only in tropics. 43% of the top 500 most influential companies in forestry, commodity supply chains have no commitment on deforestation. Okay, Then we have invasive species, which are also quite a threat for local biodiversity. Here you can read on your own definition from Convention on Biological Diversity. What are invasive alien species? Invasive alien species are something different than alien species or invasive species. These are three different categories. And here you can, on the picture, you can see lionfish, which is just invasive species for Costa Rica. It's not alien, but it's still invasive. It destroys natural ecosystems. And right now, what it may be interesting for you, Costa Rican government is encouraging local citizens to eat lionfish, deep fried lionfish, soup of lionfish. This fish is poisonous, of course, not after cooking, but what is my concern, won't we destroy one more population if we start eating lionfish to stop it from destroying other ecosystems? We have to think about that, and we have to find balance, because right now we are doing things that are not sustainable, and we have to think about sustainability and balance in our lives. Okay, on the next slide, you can see invasive alien plant species of Indonesia. For example, Celosia aurea, which is perhaps from Africa, Acacia ambulata, which is acacia in Indonesian. Yes, I hope I pronounced it well. Acacia, thank you. And also Asmina indica from India. You may have seen some of these plants in your quite close surrounding, for example, in your houses or on the walk. And I would like you to remember that there are invasive alien species and they are not indigenous for your area. On the next slide, you can see quite popular cartoon, but actually anime. Can I please? Okay, thank you. Anime from Japan. It's about a boy and a raccoon that become the best friends, and they have many different adventures together with friends. And after a peak of population of this cartoon, Japanese citizens started to import raccoons to their country. Unfortunately, or fortunately, fortunately for raccoons, unfortunately for Japan citizens, raccoons are really intelligent animals, and they're wild animals. So they started to escape the houses, destroying natural habitats, destroying houses, destroying personal belongings of the owners, eating trash, making a lot of mess. And raccoons are also carnivores. So they start killing local fauna and destroying local habitat. And right now, till today, Japan has quite a problem with raccoons because there are no indigenous. They are from America, and they imported them because of the cartoon. And right now, they have to deal with them, and they actually are not sure what to do, how to do that. So, which SDGs are connected with biodiversity and what we can achieve? Do you know SDGs? Do you know every of each of them? Okay, so SDGs that are connected with are 14 SDG, which is life below water and life on land. But also, we can think about different SDGs, such as zero hunger, because as I previously told you, we are taking our food from the nature. So by supporting biodiversity, we can maybe not achieve zero hunger, but we can make it better and better day by day. Besides that, this work and economic growth. It may be for you, this not for the first time, you may be connected with biodiversity, but especially in islands, you have your economic growth connected with nature, because tourism is taken from nature, agriculture is taken from nature, and there was a research done 2 years ago and about invasive alien species on tropical islands. And actually, they found out that smaller habitats, we knew that already, that smaller habitats are more vulnerable for invasive species, but they found out that also it's quite tightly connected with economical growth of islands. So it's really important to remember to not bring raccoons from United States here as a pet, as a domestic animal, and to think about actions that we can do for biodiversity, to support biodiversity. And of course, climate action, because animals and living organisms has really big impact on climate, as we can see about humanity, but still we are part of carbon cycle, which is this cycle that right now is our bigger problem because it's most disrupt. Yes, and many more, because actually every SDGs is connected with another, and we can find many connections between them. Okay, I run out of time, so I'm so sorry, but thank you so much for your attention. I hope it was quite interesting for you and you got some information. And right now,
Okay. Thank you. But if I can conclude that you mentioned also several animals that extinct, but the things is that nature, biodiversity, and society also can be done in one of the program that what we call as ecotourism, because that is also included how to preserve the nature, how we also can learn the biodiversity, and also as a society also we can eat a lot of food, because the economy also can grow, and then we can also concerned on how actually we protect the nature. Okay, that is some sort of a conclusion. So if we still have plenty of time, like 28 minutes. Sorry, okay, like 12 minutes, so we can have 2 questions from the audiences. If you have something to ask regarding the biodiversity, feel free to raise your hand.
or if you don't want to ask about biodiversity, you can ask about climate actions in Poland, about Youth Climate Council if you want, if you are interested, or just about what would you like to know about my research if you are interested, or about Poland.
Yeah, any things that relate to her work. It will be questions. It can be a clue for you, I think, for the topic for the debating tomorrow. I do not know the motions, but it might be. Okay, first one.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Let me introduce myself for the first time. I'm Amri from the University of Mataram, here, Finance Department. And therefore, first of all, thank you very much for the speaker for letting us know more about what things that maybe didn't know yet about that. And there are some kind of knowledge, of course, that I'm asking about this part. In this situation nowadays, as we can see, that might be this kind of thing really connected to the process and the growing of our technology and etc. It's not just about biology or something. But what we're asking about is how we manage things that we are asking for. It's just like a desire that we want to grow, and we have to take from the resources, from the resources, of course, from the nature, but the nature has to stop like that. So what do you think how some solutions that we can do, at least of saying stop, but we still need? I hope that you got my point for that part. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, how to stop this? Okay. but let me conclude the questions. How can we stop the desire of humans to do things, let's say, consume and some things. Maybe Julia will respond first, then go to the next question.
Thank you for this question. I think it's quite philosophical question because right now we are thinking about solutions and we are trying to find the best solution on every field. But people will consume because people need houses, needs food, needs hospitals, needs electricity, fresh water. But what we can do is try to make technologies that provide these things more efficient. To take less land, to take less natural resources, but still to provide people like conditions to live. So this is my opinion, only my opinion, and yes, because it's a really hard question, but it's a really good question. Actually, it's a clue of everything that we are doing right now, and we are trying to find out. So congratulations for that. But yes, it's my opinion, and we have to work together about the borders. That's also why I am here right now, and that's why I'm so grateful that I can be here and I can talk with you. And that's also why I invite you all to Europe, Poland, or anywhere else that you would like to go, because we have to think globally. We have to also think about local societies, and it's really multi-level problem, and we need many different solutions that we can connect with each other. So it's like a really diplomatic answer because actually I don't know the answer for this question, and I don't know if someone in the world knows right now. But yes, we have to work on that, and we have to think about that every day actually, and work together to achieve these goals. But more efficient production in 3 words. That would be my answer.
It's only two.
Okay, it's quite philosophical. Thanks, everyone also needs to find out the solutions together. But one thing we need to act, start from small actions like you mentioned before. Okay, the next question, because we still have like 10 minutes. Still have 10 minutes. Okay, are you?
So good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the time. So my question is so simple because you're talking about animals and the population. So do you think being a vegan for nowadays will help the humans and for the humans and the animals? Do you think the high consumption of meat is the reason why we have less population of of the animals? So do you think being a vegan will solve the like problem of environment, something like that?
Thank you for this question. It's really popular solution right now to become vegan or vegetarian. And yes, as I showed you on previous few slides ago, most of the deforestation is because of the cattle, and the second reason is soybean growing. So we are growing soy for cattle, and then it's quite it's not so complicated, but I don't know if we have so much time. But from different trophic levels to the other to up, we are starting from plants, and then we have herbivores, and then we have carnivores, like the first herbivore, then second herbivore, and then many more. But on the next trophic level goes really small amount of energy from the previous. So it's easier and it's better for environment to go vegan, but of course not everyone can go vegan because of the health problems, because of the this cultural aspect. But still we can make this amount of meat that we are eating smaller, just every day. And instead of eating like a chicken for 3 meals during the day, we can eat only for 1. Or even we can eat once a week or once a month. it depends on the person, and going vegan or vegetarian, it's good for your health, good for, in not in every case, but in mostly of the cases, and good for environment. So yes, it will like cut land use by, I think, at least 40%. I think. Okay, so thank you.
Okay, I would open for one last questions before we close the first seminar sessions. Okay, please mention your name and where are you from? Hello. My name is Kiki from Senior High School 5 Mataram. My question is about Poland in climate. Hello, can I ask about Poland?
Yes, of course, of course.
Okay, so we know that Poland is a member of the European Union, and the European Union is one of the leading places that give many progress in climate change. And one of them is committing to carbon neutral by 2050. And my question is, what are Poland's progress and what are their efforts into putting themselves as carbon neutral country in 2050 as a member of the European Union? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so right now our energy production is mostly from coal. So as you know, that's not so climate friendly and that's not so net zero. But we got many right now plants, and we are trying to develop renewable energy sources, such as photovoltaic or offshore wind farms, because we have Baltic Sea and some wind farms there are like all the time. So we have possibilities to do that. And besides that, we are investing in nuclear power plant in Poland, which is really good solution for climate and environment, because it doesn't take much space, but it produces huge amounts of energy every day. It can work in the base of energy system, and also it doesn't produce carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. So these are our ways. Right now we have for war in Ukraine, so that's why some of our plans got to the second plan, but we still have to think long term. And climate crisis is when you are playing this game and there are there's boss at the end of the level. So climate crisis right now is somewhere in front. We can see it already, and we have to prepare for that. But on the way, we would have to fight this smaller crises, smaller things, which in terms of our life would be like really big. For example, war. It's a big thing and it's devastating for citizens. But still, we have to think about climate crisis and about war, and we have to try to solve these two problems immediately. Okay, so these are our plans as Poland. I hope I answered your question. Okay, so thank you so much for this question.
Thank you very much. I think that will be the end of the first seminar sessions. If I may conclude that, as Julia mentioned, that in terms of we need to aware on the at least we got understandings on biodiversities, what are they, and how can we preserve that is actually in surrounding us. For example, we have a function. I think we learned that in biology. If we kill something, that something might also get effect, but we can also learn about the tropical webs. Also, in terms of this, there are some animal that extinct. There are some actually habitats that exist in Lombok. Also, it's quite difficult to make such actions because we have to move from another island to another island, so they have their own reserve. and we believe that they have different groups in order to protect their own animals. Also, in terms of the climate crisis, if right now Europe had a heat wave several months ago in Lombok, also we faced some heat wave, but not too heat like in Europe we heard at 40. Here it's around 30 something, and it is too hot for us as tropical. I think we can also learn something from what you have mentioned. And thank you very much once again. Please give applause to Julia. Okay, continuing, because the topic is also has a relevant into our second speakers. As I mentioned earlier, as Julia mentioned, actually, this connectivity between nature, biodiversity, and society can be done by us as human, especially from the government, to create ecotourism. And one of our speakers is also an expertise on that. Because next we will discuss a mangrove education for climate change with our Georgia speaker. First, let me introduce her. She finished her Master of Education in Curriculum and Pedagogy in this year, right? Okay. Last year. So, because I'm quite confused with the speaker, but later on I will let you know what's the reasons. And she's also the leader of Pok Darwis Sekolah Lantan Village in Central Lombok. And she's also an activist of sustainability management. Also, she's volunteer for sustainability development and also facilitator at UE2 Kaihatsu Labo. And additional informations, why I got quite difficult to recognize her, because she's triplet. She has another two siblings that resemble her. So every time I met, I thought she's the one. Oh no, another one, that's her sister. And the next year again, I met someone that resembles her. Are you the one whom I met? No, that's another one. So it's quite confusing. So if you met her, first question you need to ask, are you the one whom I met, blah, 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 blah. Okay, please, without further ado, please welcome Miss Sri Krishna Dewi. This is the real one.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm so sorry. I wanna use two language here, bahasa in English, because I'm not good enough in English actually. First, why actually I'm not saya bukan ahlinya mangrove, but I do some action with my NGO. Now I work in NGO Japan, name is Yuitul Kaihatsu Labo. We focus on how to develop learning material in environment. Later I will tell you what we do. Actually, this has been explained by our first speaker, but let me to give you some information how actually the condition in our Earth right now. The Earth temperature year by year is always increase. It is. I got the information from NASA. Bayangkan setiap tahun keadaan bumi kita semakin memanas. It's not good for our skin, and especially for the girl, right? Nggak bagus buat kulit kita, and especially for the girl. But not only for the girl, but for human, for our environment, it's not good. Why? Why it's not good? Next slide. The impact is, actually this has been explained. The first is called cyclone storm. Kita melihat di NTT kejadian kemarin itu ada badai, dan itu salah satu penyebabnya adalah climate change. Bukan hal yang alami, tidak. Tetapi disaster yang terjadi di NTT kemarin itu adalah salah satu dampak dari perubahan iklim yang terparah. Itu salah satunya karena perubahan iklim ya, lack of water, health risks, risiko kesehatan. Terus ada causing some species to become extinct. Kita tahu bahkan beberapa serangga sekarang insekta itu udah makin berkurang. Has been explained also with our first speaker, and lack of food supply. And the next is unpredictable weather. Ini especially for me to live in village where the people is work. Most of people work become farmer. So very difficult to decide which the vegetable they will plant. Like, you know, because of unpredictable weather, karena cuaca nggak menentu, kadang hujan, kadang panas. Jadi itu yang petani-petani agak kesusahan untuk menentukan apa sebenarnya yang mereka akan tanam seperti itu. Next slide. Then what's the solution? Next slide. Mangrove are one of the answer. Jadi mangrove bukan satu-satunya, tapi salah satu jawaban di sini. Do you know why? Also, vegetation stores 105 more carbon and is more permanent than forest. Jadi sebenarnya kita sering I don't want to blame, but we are mostly focused on forest. Kita selalu fokus, kebanyakan kita itu pendidikan kita tuh lebih fokus kepada pendidikan bagaimana menjaga hutan. Tapi kita lupa bahwa 70% bumi kita itu adalah air seperti itu. Dan ternyata vegetasi yang ada di laut itu 100 kali lebih mampu untuk menyerap karbon dioksida, because we know when the plant do the photosynthesis they need the CO2 or carbon dioksida, dan kita semua belajar itu ketika SD ya. Dan ternyata mangrove itu as blue carbon. Why did we call mangrove one of the blue carbon? Karena selain karbonnya berwarna biru, proses terbentuk karbon itu ada di dalam air. Nah, salah satunya adalah mangrove sebagai blue carbon yang menyerap emisi ataupun karbon dioksida yang ada seperti itu. Dan mangrove have the ability to absorb emission on Earth up to 20 times that of tropical forest. Jadi dia lebih bisa 20 kali lebih cepat untuk menyerap karbon dioksida itu dibandingkan hutannya dibandingkan pohon-pohon yang ada di daratan seperti itu. Tapi bukan berarti kita mengesampingkan yang ada di daratan, tidak seperti itu. Tapi kita bagaimana agar kita tahu bahwa ternyata mangrove can do more seperti itu. Lanjut. Next slide. Next slide. What does Indonesia have? Apa yang Indonesia punya? Ternyata bayangkan 22,6% of the world mangrove itu Indonesia punya, atau sekitar 3,1 juta hektar. Ada 3,1 juta hektar yang Indonesia itu punya seperti itu. Itu artinya bahwa Indonesia memiliki 22,6% populasi mangrove yang ada di seluruh dunia. Jadi Indonesia adalah salah satu jawaban untuk kita. Nanti pasti ada yang bilang, kenapa kenapa negara berkembang aja yang dibebani, negara maju enggak? Biasanya anak depan suka kayak gitu nih. Tapi we are not talking about that. Kita nggak bicara masalah negara berkembang, negara maju, kita nggak berbicara itu, tapi kita berbicara kepada diri kita sendiri, apa yang kita bisa lakukan seperti itu ya. Nah, itu yang kita punya Indonesia. But unfortunately, sayang sekali, sedihnya. Next slide. Sedihnya. Sedihnya ya, sayangnya dari data yang saya dapatkan, setiap 200 juta ton penyerap karbon itu menghilang. Ini secara kita baca secara keseluruhan di dunia nih ya, menghilang gitu loh. Dan Indonesia itu ada, kalau dirata-ratakan yang menghilang mangrove wilayah hutan mangrove itu hilang sekitar 52.000 hektar. Kalau ini nggak di stop, if we cannot stop it, maybe 10 or 15 years in the future mangrove will be extinct. Nggak ada yang kita melihat mangrove lagi kalau kita nggak stop. Jadi apa yang bisa kita lakukan sebagai manusia kecil ini gitu? What we can do? Next slide. How can we help? Sebenarnya I'm as activist actually. Saya tuh dari 2017 I do a lot in my society, but it's only small impact. And the time I feel like I give up and I say maybe I cannot change everything gitu. Tapi when I'm in Malaysia, I met with some people there, some NGO, and they said to me, ketika kamu melakukan suatu kebaikan atau ketika kamu melakukan sebuah perbuatan, when you do something, don't put high expectation. Karena perubahan manusia, perubahan itu bukan kita yang punya hak. Tapi yang penting adalah kita melakukan kebaikan itu yang paling utama. Lakukan saja kebaikannya. Masalah perubahan atau apa itu, don't ever think about that. Karena itu akan membuat kita menyerah dan itu akan membuat kita merasa bahwa apa yang kita lakukan itu sia-sia. Padahal sebenarnya nggak ada yang sia-sia seperti itu. Nah, I will talk in education sector. Ini yang kami lakukan di because we believe actually education sector is long-term investment. Itu investasi jangka panjang, gitu. Karena pendidikan itu dia bersifat tidak cepat. Sebenarnya kita nanam pohon atau kalau disebut Mbak Naya, karena kadang kita nanam pohon hanya sekedar untuk campaign, untuk ini kita udah lakukan sesuatu, tapi kita lupa bahwa ada hal-hal terpenting yang harus kita lakukan. Nah, di UITL kita melakukan, kita mencoba untuk we try to change the mindset, especially the children, karena kita tahu anak-anak itu masih suci lah ya. Anak-anak masih mudah untuk diubah mindsetnya seperti itu. Nah, kita percaya bahwa education still the best weapon in changing the way people think. Jadi kita tahu bahwa pendidikan masih menjadi senjata utama, menjadi hal yang paling penting untuk kita lakukan. Nah, apa education sector yang what I did in with UITL? The first that UITL make teaching material about the environment. The first is garbage management educational game. Jadi kita buat permainan game pengolahan sampah. That we do in Ecco di Lombok Utara. Kita pernah lakukan itu. Lalu kita membuat permainan di mana we educate the children. It's not only children, but the teenager and whoever doing this game, so they can separate between an organic with organic rubbish. Jadi dia bisa memisahkan antara sampah sampah mana plastik dan non plastik seperti itu. And the next one is this is new that we make, this is mangrove ecosystem educational game. Jadi kita mengajarkan anak-anak untuk dalam bentuk permainan kenapa ekosistem mangrove itu sangat penting. It's not only for human but for mangrove itself and also for the how to say binatang laut yang ada di sekitarnya gitu. Next slide. Nah, sorry, this is not clearly. Yeah. The first is this is one of the tool. Yeah, UITL. UITL tool it's mean alat, UI it's mean mengikat. Bahasa Jepangnya nih Bu Kori, ini saya dari NGO Jepang. Jadi kita buat permainan sampah ini dalam dan the picture is come from Lombok. Jadi sampah-sampah ini ada dari Lombok sebenarnya. Jadi langsung contoh nyata itu yang terjadi di Lombok. Jadi kita kayak permainan kartu. Jadi kartu-kartu itu dibuat dalam bentuk kartu kecil. Jadi anak-anak akan memisahkan langsung mana nih yang organik dan organik, mana yang bisa diolah dan tidak bisa diolah seperti itu. Karena ternyata salah satu penyebab kenapa mangrove itu susah untuk susah untuk dibudidayakan adalah karena sampah plastik. Sampah plastik yang mendiami di akar-akar mangrove itu akan menyebabkan mangrove susah untuk melakukan pernapasan. Seperti itu yang menyebabkan kenapa mangrove itu bisa mati. Selain daripada hama, selain daripada ombak, selain daripada manusia. Sampah plastik yang disebabkan oleh manusia. Selain oleh manusia itu juga menyebabkan mangrove itu bisa cepat mati. Seperti itulah kenapa kita juga memberikan edukasi tentang pemilihan sampah gitu loh, dan apa bahayanya sampah plastik. Next slide. Nah, ini agak kurang jelas, sorry. Yang kedua yaitu this is one of the tool that we have tentang pendidikan ekosistem mangrove. The first one is apa itu detritus? Itu dalam bentuk cerita bergambar. Jadi detritus ini salah satu yang diperlukan dalam proses pembentukan mangrove tersebut. Dari mana didapatkannya detritus? Yaitu dari biota-biota laut, dari daun-daun yang mati seperti itu. Nah, kalau nggak ada detritus, nggak ada mangrove, nggak bisa diolah nih detritusnya, otomatis ada kesinambungan semuanya kayak rantai makanan. Seperti itulah kenapa mangrove itu penting. Jadi kita terus dalam bentuk kartu card. Jadi card ini ada berbagai jenis biota laut yang tinggal, termasuk juga ada manusia di sana. Jadi nanti anak-anak akan merangkai sendiri, menaruh bagian-bagian yang mana yang antara satu rantai makanan dengan rantai makanan yang lain. That what we do. Seperti karena kita percaya bahwa ketika anak-anak memahami, mereka paham it's only for children, but teenager also can do this game. They can understand how the importance of mangrove seperti itu. Next slide. This is the example. Ini salah satu contohnya cerita bergambar yang kami buat. Lalu selanjutnya setelah kita melakukan permainan, we educate the children, the people, berbagai macam mangrove yang ada di Lombok seperti itu. Mangrove-nya apa saja, apa yang kita punya dan jenis-jenisnya, mulai dari bentuk bentuk bunganya, bentuk buahnya, because every mangrove has different bentuknya itu berbeda-beda. Dan what we got ketika selama saya mengajar ini, satu hal yang saya pelajari bahwa ternyata sama masih kurang dalam segi mangrove. Dan orang-orang yang ada di daerah wisatawan, di daerah wisata mangrove tersebut, mereka juga masih kurang ilmunya tentang mangrove. So the next what we gonna do is we would like to invite the ahlinya lah dalam mangrove tersebut untuk diajarkan kepada masyarakat di sana seperti itu. Next slide. Nah, ini salah satu contohnya. Jadi, how to say? Nah, ini teman-teman boleh lihat. Ini adalah rantai makanan. Ini adalah kartu yang dibuat. Jadi, the card, the children or whoever play this game, they will put the card, the right card. Yang mana yang sesuai seperti itu. I'm so sorry, I cannot bring the example. The toolnya saya nggak bawa. Jadi di sini ini mangrove. Dan ini jenis card yang akan ditaruh oleh anak-anak atau siapapun yang main game ini. Jadi bagaimana mereka akan memahami bahwa apa pentingnya mangrove baik untuk hewan laut, baik untuk mangrove itu sendiri, baik untuk manusia. Dan jelas yang paling teratas itu siapa? Yang manusia. Karena dia pemakan segalanya seperti ya. Omnivora ya, mangrove. We can say human is omnivora. This is one of the example what we do. Next slide. Nah, this is what we do. Ini salah satu hal, we do this game in in 3 places. This is the first in West Lombok in Lembar Selatan, and also in Sekotong, and also in Bage Kembar. Di Sekotong, Bage Kembar, di Lembar Selatan. Lalu next in Gili Lampu, di Lombok Timur. Itu yang kita lakukan kegiatan. It's not only giving education for the children, but we give education also for the society. Next slide. I am as the narasumber saat itu, pariwisata berkelanjutan dan ekowisata hutan mangrove. We would like to educate the society, how the stakeholder, how they can conduct ekowisata hutan mangrove based on the SDG. One of is bagaimana pariwisata manajemen berkelanjutan, keberlanjutan dalam segi budaya, ekonomi, dengan keberlanjutan sosialnya. Jadi jangan sampai mendirikan sebuah pariwisata atau ketika masyarakat melakukan pariwisata mangrove, jangan sampai merugikan alamnya, merugikan bahkan masyarakat di sana, tetapi ekowisata ini bisa memberikan dampak tidak hanya untuk orang saat ini, tapi in the future. Jadi untuk generasi selanjutnya seperti itu. Next slide. Ada ya? Saya ada upload tadi video di ada. Enggak, belum ke save ya? Yes. Coba. I will show you the video that what we do in Lombok. I'm so sorry. How can I say this is a good solution or not? the society realize actually the mangrove is important or not. Jadi dari 2017 itu kami mulai dari desa wisata di desa-desa yang ada di Sentral Lombok, dan bayangkan dari sekitar 15 ibu-ibu yang kami latih hanya satu yang bersisa. Gitu. Jadi sebenarnya kuantitas itu tidak menjadikan suatu program itu berhasil atau tidak. Tetapi yang terpenting adalah what we can do for our environment. Jadi apa yang bisa kita lakukan. Jadi bukan permasalahan kuantitasnya semakin banyak orang sadar, tidak. Tetapi bagaimana kita karena di dunia ini masih perlu orang baik. Itu intinya. Di dunia ini kita masih perlu orang baik. We still need kind people. Jadi jangan berhenti. Don't stop be kind people. Jangan stop jadi orang yang baik. We still need kind people. Nggak bisa ya, Bang? Actually, I want to show you guys apa yang saya sudah kami lakukan. Tapi that's okay. Ya, itu saja. That's all for me. Yang apa yang sudah saya lakukan. Maksudnya saya dan tim saya lakukan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As explained, I think I need to add some information. What Ms. Dewi done is that how actually to preserve the environment through to do like what is it, mangrove education. So they did some socializations and education into several places in Lombok. How actually as they have also carved and they also developed some of the materials to educate the students, to educate the local people on how to actually to improve the tourism to ecotourism that based on the SDGs. So it can give the improving the economy, also sustainable development to the local communities without harming the environment. That's what I actually see such experience, and we are still working on the future. While waiting for the medical issues, for audiences who wish to ask questions regarding the mangrove education, please raise your hand, mention your name, and ask your question. Thank you. Okay, can I just sit down?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Mohammed Hazan. I'm from Jakarta. A very simple questions to ask Ms. Dewi. Yeah, I think it's a really cool presentations. I just want to ask about the data. When you said that 10 or 15 years later, our forests are getting lost. I just want to ask what caused these things. What cause of this? What cause of it lost? I think it's impossible when there's no cause of the things, right? Maybe are we doing some things like a logging trip the mangrove forest? I don't think so, right? I just want to ask about what caused it lost at the end. Are we less on planting or what? Maybe that's all. Thank you. Okay, we go to the next to the second question.
Okay. Thank you for the chance. I'm Nadine. I'm from Senior High School of Manila. So this seminar is really great because I just know that mangroves can do so much for our environment. And thanks for your presentation on that. I want to ask about something about the education of the people. I realize that education is a really great tool to help our environment, but I also want to ask, since you've been doing these activities for quite some time now, can you see any visible improvements in or any visible impact that you get after educating these people or these children? I think that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This question first to start. I think you want one by one.
Kita zoom di HP ko sih oke.